Greenwings switching sides. Jin Air will have counter pick availability. Wonder whether anything crazy is going to come in, as the Cassiopeia isn't. Grace, one of the only players to actually be allowed to play that one.
That's really blue side Cassiopeia bans are always sort of concerning for me. When the champion is undisputedly the strongest champ in the game on any given patch, and sometimes we don't have patches like that, where there's not a unanimously agreed upon champion that is just busted. Cassiopeia is, because she can go 3 lanes. She's extremely oppressive. She messes up so many team compositions. It doesn't matter about her weakness due to the fact that she can be flexed into 3 lanes, so it's hard to draft against her. And yet we have SK Telecom and Gen G banning her out on blue side, and if some people are saying, oh, well, maybe that's just not the style that they want to take in this game, or maybe they don't feel comfortable playing that style. No, it's not an argument. You should be able to play the best thing possible.
And they've already shown us, I mean, Jin Air have already shown us that, you know, if she gets through, she can lose. So Grace did have trouble there in the mid lane, but like you say, it was more about the comp that was against Jin Air and the players that were against Jin Air being just a little bit better. The Rakan, though, was let through. Was in the first round of bans, and in fact, Gen G banded away first up.
And Sion now being hovered, and it might be locked in, so we might have Urgot Sion top lane or mid lane.
Yep, could be certainly flexed around a lot, but Rakan Sion certainly is going to allow Jin Air to do a lot more with what their composition has. Problem that I have is that if Jin Air have a Rakan but don't actually go in and do stuff, it's going to be a really sad situation. Tahm Kench being looked at here, and certainly is a huge pick for Gen G. You can take Core JJ out, but they still love the Tahm Kench, even in the hands of Life. Life has worked a little bit better when it comes to engage-style champions. The Gragas comes to mind as certainly being one of his peak performers, but can still jump on the Tahm and take care of Ruler. Showed us that earlier on as well.
And, well, we'll see what the next pick is.
I just had a feeling it was going to be
Ash.
I had a feeling it was going to be Ash.
Okay. So Ash for Ruler, Ash Tahm Kench.
This was their favorite lane, 2018, at least mostly at the beginning of the season, because everyone else was running around doing funny stuff and playing the awesome dudes on the bottom side of the map, and Ruler was like, not having a bar of it. Just give me the Ash Tahm Kench lane every day of the week. And he does so. Can also lane very, very nicely. I love, you know, the volley spam Ash lanes can be so incredibly safe. They're not going to be challenged too much as the Kai'Sa is locked in. But just Kai'Sa wanting to scale up and can use that killer instinct to dodge an arrow as well. If you're talking about just the 1v1 matchup, I actually don't mind it.
And now we're moving into the second ban phase. Lots of junglers are still on the table. One of the things that's so surprising for me to... Oh, there she is. Yep. I was going to say, Camille has been getting through a lot of pick bans and yet not being selected.
I think it does depend on the junglers in the game, because Peanut and Marong has tried his hand at the Camille, as has Peanut, but neither of them are really Camille players. I feel like she does need a lot of time put into her, and then you can become a player like OnFleek, who just looks absolutely ridiculous with Camille in hand. But Xin Zhao going to be banned away as well, so we are thinning out this jungle pool. Olaf probably also going to join that ban list, as the Xin Olaf were the bans for Jin Air last time around.
Olaf not so bad against the Ashe, but there is a Tahm Kench on the team. Kindred banned away.
That's an odd one.
That is a very odd one.
I don't necessarily look at... yeah, and that's a Gen G side. Zac banned.
Oh, maybe Karthus is coming with a Kindred removal.
Potentially. Malrong does have access to the Olaf, which certainly suits his playstyle much better than something like a Trundle. But could Peanut be jumping on the Karthus jungle?
I think Karthus actually would be a fantastic pick here for Gen G. So I'm not sure if we will end up seeing it. There's already massive amounts of physical damage on their team. They need a heavy-hitting AP champion somewhere, and Karthus would do that.
Yep.
Blue side Karthus with blue side Tahm Kench, you can easily turtle your blue side jungle 20 to 30 minute mark, and it becomes near impossible. That's another heavy-hitting AD champion. So we're looking at Elise or Karthus. There she is.
And Elise is certainly the Peanut champion. That was the one coming to mind. Doesn't necessarily do the damage like a Karthus does, but will still make Jin Air think twice.
Well, the Elise is a little bit weird because they already have an Olaf. They have massive tankiness inside of the Sion. It's going to be a little bit difficult to pair these matchups up, so not totally sure what they're hoping to accomplish now.
Well, is Zoe going to be picked up here for Grace? And actually thought that might have been an option taken by Fly. He's been defaulting back to the Zoe a lot, but decides to go for the Urgot that had already been picked up, and Roach is going to be heading towards the top side of the map to try to punish the Scion. We saw actually Khan have a rough time of the Jace into the Scion matchup, not actually able to get the bullying done like we'd expect from something like that. We'll see whether he does go into the Kleptomancy to try and get a little bit of extra money, and whether Linderung is going to do something like that Arcane Comet that worked out very, very well for Noguri up there on the top side into Khan, but very different players, very different team compositions as well. But Gen G, once again, have structured themselves something that is very obvious in how it works. This pick composition is just going to pick and shoot people with stuff from a fairly large distance and do it over and over again.
And we'll take a look at it one more time before we hop into game number 2 here. So let's take a look at it really quick. Jace, Elise, Urgot, Ashe, and Tahm Kench. Elise needs to get aggressive, needs to get the Jace snowballing. Ashe out of the laning phase early with the Tahm Kench, utilizing that ultimate to keep the snowball and the pressure up. If Kai'Sa falls behind, there's almost going to be no hope if Zoe just doesn't have the items necessary to hold the game together. And on the flip side, Sion, Olaf, Zoe, Kai'Sa, and Rakan. Heavy, heavy focus for the Kai'Sa and the Zoe. Malrong, as just like the opposing jungler, needs to get his laners going.
Yep. It's going to be very, very different for the early game as far as expectations are concerned. It's no longer going to be how many camps ahead is this Zac, and that's a great thing. It's how many times have they affected the lane. So let's find out and see whether this game moves any faster. Some of the Jin Air fans here in the audience as we get into potentially the last game of the night and the last game of week 2 as well, as we'll have a couple of days off before things get started up again on Wednesday. Life getting his licky tongue out, and just a defensive start for both teams.
There expectations
needs to be very different.
A Lickitung Tahm Kench skin.
Oh, there really does.
There really needs to be.
I mean, there's a Bowser Rammus. Like, obviously,
right.
We don't really care about like copyright or trademarks or anything like that, you know. So,
or get a Majin Buu.
Yeah, we do. We have.
We need a Majin. Well, yeah, we have Zac.
Yeah,
Zac.
we have Zac.
That is true. Yeah, that is Super Buu.
Yeah, we've got that already.
We've got that covered. I'm hoping, like I saw the Reddit thread about the Marvel partnership type stuff. Maybe we end up getting Marvel skins of some nature.
Oh yeah, okay.
That'd be pretty interesting.
Where would the Marvel skins go?
Hulkbuster Sion.
Oh, Daredevil Lee Sin. That's so sick.
There you go.
Oh man, that's so free.
With Black Widow, I mean,
Black
so
Widow,
many ADCs.
Yeah. Vayne, Kai'Sa.
Yep. Yeah, so many ADCs.
Evelyn, Aurelia. You could make a Black Widow skin for like half the cast.
Right. What's her name? The lady from X-Men, the blue
lady from
orange hair.
Oh, Phoenix?
No. Orange hair, blue skin.
Oh, Mystique.
Mystique Evelyn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's an easy one.
That'd be cool. Yeah. Or Mystique Nico.
Yeah.
And then Nico transforms into a champion. There you go. I mean, we got everything covered.
We do have everything covered. I think we need to start sitting down with Riot and having a discussion about this. Get it happening. As we'll get some cheeky auto attacks in there, utilizing his keystone choice. As the volley spam is going to come in, and keeping root low is a great way of controlling this lane. Kellen as well, I mean, losing health bar on Rakan is a great way to keep him down. It was one of the original ways to deal with Leona. Just keep her poked so that she doesn't have the health bar to actually go in, and then you get a free laning phase. Roach going a little bit aggressive here on Linderung, who has decided to go for the regular style. In fact, everyone just sticking to what they know is Phase Rush is going to come in instead of the Klepto, and it's the Grasp of the Undying instead of that Arcane Comet from what we saw in this matchup last time we saw it. Of course, Noguri and Khan are two very different players, so see how this lane goes and whether or not it is going to be the expected Jace-dominated lane, and so far it is.
So I really like what both junglers are doing here. Olaf recognizes, hey, I actually cannot gank the Jace or the Urgot early on. There's no way to do it for Kai'Sa and Rakan. I'm going to full clear my whole jungle. Peanut acknowledges, let me make sure that Malrong can't cheese my mid or my bottom lane early. I'm going to run over to the other Scuttle Crab. He can't do anything to me there because Urgot and Jace both have priority.
Yep.
Then I'm going to fall back and farm my blue side jungle. And this is a really cookie cutter, but well thought out opening from both junglers at least.
Yeah,
so
it's a really nice
playing
plan
out
so far.
nice.
Grand Entrance going to come in, but that's just going to be traded for the Devour. He's going to have to wait for the next cooldown. Try and get that one happening. Just battle dances his way around this lane as Ruler has popped his potion. Does have a bit of a CS advantage here, but you can see the trades are actually working out pretty well for Root and Kellen down there. Grace has picked himself up a barrier. Doesn't have a whole lot of mana as the flash has to be used from Ruler as the other Grand Entrance comes in. That's exactly how you play it out. Devour's got a pretty damn long cooldown, guys.
Yep, ever since the Tom Kench nerf.
Yeah?
A while ago. Sad times. Sad times.
Hey, at least he can still aggressively eat people.
That is true.
A little bit faster, so that's the good news. There's the good news. Marron comes down, clears out some vision to make sure that Gen.G can't play too aggressively, but already things are going very well in the 2v2 down there. I just feel like Rakan is so strong, and Kellen is demonstrating that already in the laning phase as well.
And right now, Jace trying to get some poke onto Linderong. Jace has yet to teleport, and even though he has the phase rush, I do have to comment that truthfully, I do think that Klepto is superior, especially when
like this, right?
you have an aggressive jungler that is able to get you the intel that you need early. Taking another quick look at this replay, you see Kellen comes in here, he says, look, we're going to trade flashes or you're going to die. Yep. And Ruler has to back up, and even though he used an exhaust, this does mean that Ruler is potentially a sitting duck anytime Olaf can come bottom. Infernal Drake up on the map. I wouldn't be too surprised to see Malrang just go for it right now.
He's pinging it.
Yeah.
Yeah, red ping's over there, wondering whether the vision is available. Of course it isn't, as we can see with our God Mode vision. Black Sheep Wall has been removed. And finally just gets over and chucks a little ward in the back of the pit, so nice work from Life.
You know that Elise's left-hand side jungle is going to be coming up soon. She's going to be enticed to go over to that Scuttle Crab, and with Kai'Sa coming back down into bottom lane with the Rakan, he might just be able to go over to it after the Wolf Camp and try to solo it, especially because that means that Grace is going to be able to re-get priority and play right-centric inside of the lane so that both bot and mid have first collapse to Olaf in case anything would go bad.
Yeah, I feel like the priority is going to work out there if they can actually get things worked out in their favor. However, at the moment, it feels like the lane priority certainly is in favor of Gen.G. As Fly, he teleported into the mid lane. He's got himself the Ignite now ticking with his Spellbook. Taking a bit of damage here from Grace as the more Sparkles lands, as well as the Trouble Bubble. Disdain has to be used from Fly to get himself back underneath this turret, and that's the opposite of the priority that we were talking about earlier on. Fly taking a really terrible trade.
And during all of this time, Malrang could have been doing something, but instead, he was trying to flip some coins.
Now we're looking to go home.
Yeah, we lost all sort of tempo.
It's very strange, especially with Grace now just on walkabout.
Yep.
On the top side of the map, not entirely sure what he was doing. Getting defensive vision down is a weird choice, just wanting to make sure that the Elise can't make her way into their jungle and start stealing away camps, I guess, but Peanut's just having a good time heading around his own camps, getting his blue buff for the next spawn. Sorry, red buff. Has his Skirmisher Saber as well as an Amp Tome already done, just waiting for that Luden's Echo. Been very quiet, has the Elise, but has once again just been out-farming Malrang at every turn, and Malrang hasn't been able to utilize the extra space that he's got, as the Ranger's Focus being opted in for here by Ruler just to get these guys out of the lane.
So this is sort of what I was talking about earlier in the pick ban. What is Elise doing right now that Karthus couldn't? She's not really doing anything outside of that initial opening, but as a team, you could have played around that initial opening to make sure that Olaf can't do anything to you with wards. And then you would have such a stronger upside inside of the Karthus. And instead, you have the Elise, and, well, Kellen and Malrang almost ran into her.
We can confirm that Elise is on the map now, says Jinner. They hadn't actually seen her previously. Dash Cannon picked up by Grace there in the mid lane, but doesn't find the Trouble Bubble. Fly, we were talking about having some control of this lane. Does certainly, as the next mini wave is going to crash. See whether he can once again continue to have the push, but he's standing on a ward. And thankfully is able to wander slowly out of the way of the Trouble Bubble, despite picking up that Paddle Star. And look, you were talking about the fact that Jinner had an opportunity to go for the Drake. They didn't. And Gen.G have now decided that they want to, with just Peanut by himself, as Malrang is going to walk his way in here. Peanut, level 6, but that doesn't really mean too much, as he can actually get over to the Blast Cone with the Repel.
Oh, another nice sleepy bubble trouble.
Yeah. Just so you guys know, LS does know the right way to say that.
Wait,
he just says it the other way.
Sleepy bubble trouble.
Because it's funny.
No. Wait. Wait.
You know that it's trouble bubble, right? As we've got first blood to be happening in the mid lane. Linderung just comes in, says, "See you later, Mr. Urgot," and gets taken down. Arrow's going to land, but Ragnarok's going to soak it as Peanut does a lot of damage to Kellen, but they're not going to be able to get the kill. And this time, Jin Air pick up the first in this game.
And that's actually a really big first blood. It's going to help Sion get his items that is necessary to basically just say, Jace, okay, the lane ends now.
Yep.
Take another look at it. This is a very, very good bubble yet again out of Grace. Perfect Sion ultimate. This doesn't even matter. Fly just gets absolutely deleted. But going back to what you were saying, I actually did not know.
You didn't know that?
I actually, Caster, by the way.
Yeah.
So
it's Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Just
okay.
So you know, Sleepy Bubble Trouble.
Sleepy Bubble Trouble.
Is that what you were saying? I don't know.
Because you're in trouble once you get hit by the bubble.
I know it does.
And
make,
you're going to get put to
sense.
sleep, which makes sense why Jin Air's.
I mean, I know we're going to have our meeting about the Marvel skin, so we could probably talk about getting that name changed as well while we're there. You know, kill two birds with one stone. As Linderung is going to take a lot of damage here from Roach, who's still doing some relevant work with that serrated Dirk that he's picked up for himself. Has the CS advantage, but it does feel like an inevitability that this Sion will become a brick wall if he's not going to get punished any more than just a few CS.
He just needs one more recall. If Jace and Elise are going to kill him, it would be on this cannon wave. And so Linderung saying, hey, you know what? This is the only opening Elise has to kill me. I'm just going to recall right now and play it super safe. And with Elise being on the left-hand side, we've seen this all night long.
Yeah.
They try to trade these dragons for Herald, except this time, this isn't a Clown Drake. It's not an Ocean Drake. It's an Infernal. It's not something that you can just flip for Shelly.
It's a good one. It's a good dragon. The moment hasn't actually been attended to, apart from Peanut giving it a go. Earlier on, Paddlestar, once again going to connect. He just hits everything. This is the very opposite of the Zoe that we were seeing before. That Paddlestar and the Super Soaker actually going wide, but otherwise, great look for Grace. Subbing in for Chongo. We were wondering why, but see Grace already proving that it was a pretty good decision. The Zoe looks very, very, very good. Surprising that Fly is getting hit by basically everything, because Fly is a notable Zoe player as well.
Yeah.
But that's okay. He's doing fine in the lane.
One of the things that is surprising me is, yet again here in this game, Peanut is up an entire level yet again.
Yeah.
And his camps are going to be respawning first. He's going to have first action to them. Marong, it's really surprising because you would expect that he would be doing a lot more.
Another one, and pop goes the Urgot once again. I've seen this movie before. I understood how it ended. And we watched that one happening in slow motion. Vision cleared eventually, but Fly, you can't be doing this.
Sion ulting back into top lane.
Yeah, taking a train towards the top side of the map. Something that I may not be able to do to get home if this series is going to continue at a slower pace.
Take another look at this one more time.
The old punished for a face check.
It's amazing, actually, that this type of stuff is happening when Gen G has map hack inside of Hawkshot.
Exactly.
So it's really bizarre that you can't discover where the enemy is or isn't and then deduce from that, okay, I shouldn't move here or I should be able to move here.
Well, Bax not working out very well for Jin Air, meaning that this Infernal Drake is indeed going to be taken down. Black Cleaver not quite there.
Wow.
Fly just yet, but they just grab it for free.
That just gave Elise 11 AD. And so, whoever, you know, God knows how much it just gave Ruler and Roach.
Yeah.
So,
and the first
quite
one
a valuable
is the best
dragon.
one.
Yeah, first one's the best one. And another Infernal. So, I think the Riot production crew, they're trying to get home.
They didn't like the Overcast Mountain in the first game. They're like, let's try and speed this one up a little bit. Only Infernals for the rest of the game. I wonder what happens when you get 6 Infernal Drakes.
Let me hit you with how this is going to go. That's going to be an Infernal capture, and then there's going to be 2 mountains, followed by a Baron, and Gen G is going to win.
Okay.
All right, so...
You heard it here first, guys. LS already knows how this one goes. And I've seen Back to the Future too. I assume you're just exactly the same as Marty McFly. Jin Air, though, they're going to trade it for Shelly. Going to be able to pick that one up just nicely. Not enough vision available here for Gen G. They do know what's going on, but can't effectively get in here. So Shelly's going to be taken here at 13.5 minutes into the game, meaning that you're not going to be able to get too many turret plates with it because you have to get it down within 20 seconds, but they might actually be able to put it towards the bottom side of the map, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Malrong's immediately just going to throw it in there. It's got 15 seconds to get over. Has to walk all the way around this corner. That's going to be first turret going down. All of those plates eaten up here by Gen G. And as you can see, 4 seconds to go.
Oh.
There we go. They actually get the turret plates.
Oh, that was very
Fabian able to get another one as well, as Grace has to use his flash to get out of the way. Cleanse on cooldown now as well. And Gen G continue pushing towards the bottom side.
And, wow, Cocoon going down onto Scion.
Yeah,
Ashe has ultimate, doesn't elect to use it, which I find very bizarre.
Yeah, I
with
think they
Tom
had
Kench.
enough damage
Yeah,
there.
absolutely, they did.
And with Repel available as well, Repel and Devour means that diving turrets is pretty easy if you've got the Elise and the Tahm Kench down there. But still, we've got turrets being traded across the board, and Fly finally gets on over, but the inner turret taken down. Shelly's help there, of course, was very nice, but getting a triple charge on your Rift Herald is pretty damn good, especially you're in Jin Air's position.
One of the things that is always so interesting to me about trades like this is I'm very divided on who wins out in spots like this. You get the bottom tier 2 turret, which is an objective turret because it's the lane that is furthest from Baron.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, you get the tier 2 top turret, which is only traditionally seen as an economic turret, as normally games cannot be ended through that lane without the Baron buff. So normally you never really get the top tier 2 turrets. They're just basically luxury gold, luxury vision, and in this spot, Jin Air gets it pretty early on, and that's not normally gold that you get access to.
And also, they managed to get so much vision on the top side of the map here for Gen G as well. So, of course, you can argue that they could move in there anyway, but it just means that Gen G now don't have that opportunity as Fly. Thinking about disdaining forward, but isn't going to do so. Peanut threatening the Cocoon, but not actually going to throw it out. Now moving back. Into, I don't want to talk about it, but it might be happening. The ARAM time could be upon us. Don't want to speak too soon. 20 CS lead for Ruler.
Don't you do it.
As he's not going to be splitting farm. We've got the Jace moving top, the Urgot moving bot, and we're going to park the Ashe here in the mid lane. Doesn't feel like the ARAM yet because we've got, you know, some nice burst damage coming in here. There's the flash quickness in the grand entrance, but the Repel is going to be utilized. Fly is hanging around. The flash comes down to get out of the way of Linderong. And the trouble bubble is going to go wide this time from Grace. So Jin Air, they try and press a bunch of buttons, but they're not able to lock down the Spider.
And with that being done that way, probably not going to see another fight unfold until the Infernal comes up. In Gen G, unlike SK Telecom from earlier today, they need to be hands on deck for this.
Yes.
They cannot let this Infernal go away. It is so valuable to 4 of their champions.
We're very close to Ruler grabbing that item number 2 as well, so they can actually fight around this and feel pretty good about it if the Ashe can go back before that Infernal does spawn. But it means that he'll need to have the money and be able to go home very, very soon. And is probably a little bit out of time here as it's only 30 seconds before that Infernal Drake is up. But control of this area is certainly there for Gen G. See whether they can keep it before that Drake spawns in 20 seconds.
This is really good.
Moving on over. They've got a lot of vision available here on the side of Jin Air. Gen G should be able to deal with it relatively quickly. Checking brush is pretty easy now that there is an Elise in the game. There's Grace. Jumps on over with the portal jump. The disdain is thankfully going to help Fly not take the big burst of damage. That's a minion wave very close to the base.
These side lanes
Jin Air, as the arrow's going to land in the mid lane route, taking a lot of damage, but Ruler may be overextended as there's the engagement coming in from Linderong, followed up immediately as well by the Rakan. Beautiful stuff, and Grace is the one gifted with the kills, still flashing on forward because he picks him up with his W like candy after a fight like that.
I don't know how this happens. This is, you want to talk about a Goosebumps book.
Yeah, this is the adventure we didn't choose. I don't know.
Oh, man. This is going to be Infernal Drake going over to Jin Air Greenwings in a turn of events that only M. Night Shyamalan could have directed.
Yep.
So here now at 18, there's the Mountain Drake. I was telling you.
You are actually a prophet.
So here we go. Yeah, so the ultimate goes on to root, but there's no universe in which Ruler can ever kill him.
But also, Life had to use the Devour on Peanut.
Yeah.
That's it.
So there was no way out of this. Really unfortunate turn of events. Roach was also very late to this Infernal. He was busy pushing that last 100 gold top lane, you know.
Yeah.
Very important. So, really unfortunate. They gave away an Infernal Drake to a Zoe and a Kaisa.
It's bad news bears. Gen G still do have the gold lead, and they've got that 2-item spike. Onto Ruler, who's going to be able to do a lot of damage if Jinna's going to run at them, and they, of course, are going to do that. It's Olaf and Sion. They will be in the face of the Ashe. And Ruler will now, at least, be able to do a fair bit of damage to both of them at the same time. But the list of really good things is starting to grow thin, as Root is also scaling up. The Cocoon's going to land there on a Malrung. Remember, this is a composition that still picks very, very well, especially if they've got vision like they do on the top side of the map. Gen G just need to stick to what they're good at, though. And it hasn't necessarily been working because they haven't even got any picks yet. 0-4 is the kill score. We talk about this game like it's relatively Gen G favored. It's because the win condition is certainly there for Gen G. We know how this game is won by this composition, but they're just not doing it. They haven't been able to show us that just yet, despite being able to pick up a lot of the turret plates and things like that in the early game to give them this sort of lead.
And I think, you know, Grace is even doing Gen G a little bit of a favor. I think he's going to itemize Morellonomicon next, which is a really poor item when you already have Oblivion Orb and the enemy team is already stacking magic resistance. Yeah. Because all that you're really getting is you're getting the Grievous Wounds passive, but I don't see a whole lot of healing on Gen G. And then you're just getting the raw AP and an extra 100 HP. That's not worthwhile, and you just have a much better time investing into another item, getting different stats, getting a different passive. So, in that way, Grace is actually stunting himself if he does end up completing into that item, and that's something that Gen G can use at this point in time.
Yeah,
so they can take any break they can get.
Peanut does have the Morellonomicon built up himself. It means that he doesn't necessarily have a lot of magic resist, but I think a Banshee's Veil will be in this build at some point. He's going to be going towards that magic resist. But pretty balanced is the composition on the side of Jinna. You know, you got two tanks that do basically physical damage, and then Grace is sitting there with all of the magic to himself. Root doing a bit of mixed, but not really much to talk about. Ninja Tabi completed for Ruler. I wonder what he's going to go for as item number 3. It might be the GA. Onto the Ashe just to make sure that he's not going to get exploded by the Zoe. This is going to be a hard game for Ruler as well. It's already a hard one for Fly, but it could be even worse for the Ashe as this game goes on. Well, now Fly going to have to get the heck out of dodge as Malrung going to run on over, and the Trouble Bubble is going to be just a little bit short. Man, if that had landed, that would have been a 0-4-0. Urgot?
Yep.
And 0-3-0 felt bad enough for good old Fly. But now Jinna do have a lot of control. They managed to clear out all of the vision down the top side. And at 21.5 minutes into the game, the Baron is something that you really need to start looking at because these have been taken early. Of course, probably not by both of these teams. But better to be safe than sorry, and that has been their MO on both sides.
I mean, the Gen G team composition with that Ashe, the Elise, the Urgot, the Jace, they shred Baron so quickly. So if they can get that Mountain Drake in just one pick with an Enchanted Crystal Arrow or an Elise Cocoon, that probably spell lights out for Jin Air.
And they've also, like, that's what I mean about, like, looking at this comp and understanding the win conditions. Like, non-committal CC is what you need to make a pick composition like this, and they have it in spades. They've got so much. And then the follow-up is very long range. You know, even Fly can add it with the Fear Beyond Death to come in, and then if a team fight's going to break out at the end, that Fear is actually going to be very, very good. So having a lot of single-target champions and then an Urgot on your squad, I can understand exactly why this Gen G comp has been working in scrims, if that's what they've in fact been doing. But I don't feel like they're really utilizing it to its full potential just yet. If you've got a pick comp, go and try and find some picks, is sort of what I want.
Well, looks like what Fly wants is to try to get that top tier 1 turret with 15 seconds until the dragon and no teleport, so.
All right. So you're the coach, and like, let's assume that you're coaching me. I'm going to assume that's a bad move.
That is, it's a good move. It's a fantastic move. Here we go.
Does it depend on what your goals are?
Yeah, your goals to get relegated.
What if your goal's winning the game? Is it a good move then?
No.
Sorry, I didn't specify that.
It's a good goal to go to challengers. You know? So.
I mean,
there we go. Push that top tier 2.
Apparently, challenges is where all the good teams are, LS.
That is true. Just look at Griffin.
Look at Damwon. Look at Sandbox. Yeah. I think we need to go back to challenges to learn the game, I think.
Don't look at BBQ from Kesper Cup, all right?
I didn't say it. I didn't say it. No.
You're thinking it.
Yeah, I was. But a bit of A-ramming. Never hurt anyone. As Roach is going to be fighting Linderung on the bottom side of the map. As is this the point where the Scion is going to start winning? And it's feeling scarily like that. Gargoyle Stoneplate has been built up, but he's not going to be able to get out of here just yet. Abyssal Voyage to come in as Life is going to back up Roach. And now they're just trying to get him out of here. He's going to get licked. Is the CC going to be enough? Yes, the gobble comes in from Life, spits him out, and picks up a well-deserved kill. The boot back with the hammer as well, so Zombie Scion finds no joy.
Alice, could you perhaps tell me what the next dragon is?
That
is a mountain.
Mountain Drake?
Yeah, so double Infernal, double Mountain. We're going to get one Baron. The game is going to end.
Oh, but I mean, Genji was supposed to win, remember? But those next 2 Drakes, they look to be under the Jin Air Greenwings banner.
Don't jinx this. It was just a little foggy.
Okay, okay. I didn't see the Cloud Drakes, man. As Roach tries to go for the boot back underneath the turret, but this just took a very, very long time, and I'm not entirely sure why we're getting a replay. Scion takes a lot of killing, but eventually Tom Kench comes and eats it.
This is... I'm sure there is a lot of people in chat right now that are extremely ecstatic about watching this.
He very nearly got out.
Yeah.
And then Life ate him. Oh, man.
Life comes at you fast.
That sounds like a metaphor, doesn't it? It's not all that nice, to be honest. Okay, Jin Air still clearing out vision, but still a lot of it available for Genji, and I think they've got Rift Scuttle vision around that Baron buff as well. So not going to be removing that one anytime soon, as Roach is being a nuisance, but might actually get routed here. The rest of Genji are hanging around the area as there's the grand entrance, and that's a pick on the Jace. A free one going over to Root. But what can Genji now do with this added information? Because they now know that there's multiple people bottom side, but of course, not actually able to get anything done just yet. If they have vision like this set up, they can use it to get the cheeky little cocoons in there to get these picks, but it's actually Jin Air that's doing it to them.
Oh, and there's an Enchanted Crystal Arrow onto the Olaf.
Yeah, that's not exactly the target that you're looking for with the arrow, as at least the Ragnarok is now on cooldown. Ruler does have a fair bit of CDR, as that's the ultimate to start this one off, but just the disengage. And we're pressing a bunch of buttons, but I'm not seeing very much actual good stuff eventuating after they've been pressed.
And at this point, Scion's going to manage to get the bottom turret right here, as Jin Air is maybe looking to try to secure the mid-tier 1 turret. And really, I mean, the gold advantage for Genji is going to start to dissipate in coming moments here. And with the second Mountain Dragon coming up, this has to be a very scary situation, because if Jin Air Greenwings ends up getting it, suddenly their composition can just delete Baron from the map.
Yeah, and it's already getting to that point very quickly as well. I mean, as Root gets more and more items, Rage Blade makes Baron pretty trivial, especially as the Kai'Sa can shred through it very, very fast. So like you say, Infernal Drake into Double Mountain spells the Baron Ender. 1.5 minutes into this game. Had a back come in for a lot of the Genji players, but you can see all of this vision around this mid lane. This is where Jin Air want to be focusing. They want to try and break this open. It's going to mean that it's very hard for Genji to get out of their base, push forward, and actually get that Baron vision, given the fact that the top outer turret and the top inner turret were taken down earlier on in this game.
And it's only a Scion, so you don't have to worry about rushing to bottom to catch any waves, and you also don't have to worry about rushing to top to catch any waves. You don't have a tier 2 top turret if you're Genji. So you have a little bit more luxury time available to you to recall and catch the wave in front of your inhibitor turret, and that's perfectly fine. So instead of trying to pressure for this top tier 2 of Jin Air Greenwings, invest your time in securing vision around the Mountain Drake, trying to capture it, make sure that there's no flank teleport wards available. Not that Linderon has teleport right now, but thought is what counts.
Absolutely. I want to talk about other things that count, because Ruler, you can count the items. He's got 3 of them, and they're 3 pretty good ones as well, as the Infinity Edge came in just then as his final item. We do have Gargoyle's Stoneplate completed for Fly, as well as Peanut almost has as much CS as Linderon. This Elise has been farming up an absolute storm. Will be doing some damage in these fights, but it's no Magic Mantle and a Stopwatch since last we spoke about his item, so he's probably sitting on a fair chunk of change.
Yeah.
As Fly, splitting on the top side, as a lot of the 0-3 Urgots in my games have been doing.
Well, so the one benefit here is that Fly did drag Grace up into top lane, and he has teleport available. I don't know why he's backing all the way up into Guam, but that doesn't make any sense. He should already be hitting the turret again, and Grace should be demanded to come right back. So, bit of a delay, mismanagement.
Kellen. Yeah, going to shorthand the grand entrance. That wasn't a very grand one. That was a not grand enough entrance, I think.
He's going to be able to get the turret here. And, I mean, Jace can just start hitting that dragon with Elise. I mean, both teams are really botching this. If you're Jin or Greenwings, why do you care about a top tier 2 turret? Just bring Zoe to the dragon. Genji's out of position. Burst it. Demand that they fight you, because Olaf's just going to be able to eat the brunt of the Ash Arrow, and then Jace is out of position.
And you know what's happened now? Genji have actually just taken the mid-outer turret for free. They took the inner turret top lane for free, and now they're going to take the Drake for free because of indecision, because of exactly what you're talking about. And it's unfortunately been a bit of a trend with what Jin Air have been doing, and also this is what happens when you lack confidence, and Jin Air certainly don't have very much, and Gen G, thankfully, if they are actually going to win this game, get this 2-0, on paper it actually looks pretty clean. Yes, the first game was very, very slow, but it's not like Gen G screwed anything up majorly or anything like that. It's still a win that you can be proud of, and I know there's a lot of Gen G fans that want to see this team come back into their former glory. It's so hard without ambition on this roster anymore. What's the identity of this squad? Get behind Ruler seems to be the way they do it. Now there's a last whisper on this Ash, and Ruler is going to be a definite menace now on this team.
Jin or Greenwings look like they might want to just demand that Genji come to the Baron.
Well,
that is very fast.
Yeah, and they do have a Hawk Shot. They can throw that one in there. The blue trinket is now down as Arrow is going to fly in. Does connect, but isn't really a big deal as now Grace could be in trouble. The Disdain comes down. They've got off the Baron now as I believe the ult went wide, but Root is now into the backline. Kellen is charming everyone up, but Fly has the Gargoyle Stone Plate, and already on the backline, Roach is jumping forward. They get rid of the Olaf. They're playing this as front to back as you like, and Gen G are making it work.
And Genji coming out on top with a really, really big win. I'm surprised they're not just starting the Baron right away. Some of the members are relatively low, but okay, here we go. We got the teleport now coming in from Fly. If they get this Baron, it's going to be so hard for Jin Air Greenwings to try to hold on against it. They just don't have any wave clear.
Yeah, and Fly refilling his health bar like that just means that they're able to get so much done. Kellen comes on over, but Malrung's dead. That means no smite. Fly, I believe, just threw out the Fear Beyond Death at where he thought Grace might be. Doesn't actually get any joy, but that's now a Baron on Gen G. Let's see this fight yet again.
Yeah, we're taking a quick look at this replay, and Jin Air did not want to 50-50 the Baron, but honestly, I think that they should have at that point. And you can see that Grace completely zoned out. Ruler not able to go down as he was saved by life. Linderong trying to flash to safety and get a knock-up. Fly says no thank you, and gives him a little bit of a suplex.
Yeah, and I like the little slowdown there, showing life. Going in, grabbing Ruler, getting him out of the way of Root, who had Killer Instinct just to kill the Ashe. Couldn't kill the Ashe, couldn't win the fight.
Now at this point, almost a 10,000 gold lead for Gen G. Prophecy is almost coming true.
Yeah. I don't know how you've done it, but you've done it. Once again, reminded of Back to the Future. Good old Biff getting a bit confused about what's going on.
So Jace managing that top wave. Very, very difficult for Jin Air Greenwings to actually respond to this. Their composition is extremely immobile. Well,
the repel is going to go in, but Kellen does have that quickness available right in the sky with the Zhonya's Hourglass and jumps into the Gaping Maw of life as well. But the fight is going to continue. Grey Health isn't even going to get popped there as the first kill does go over to the Kai'Sa. Second one over to Zoe, but look what's happening on the top side. Roach says, I don't really care about what's happening, guys. I'm just going to win the game.
And he ends up getting himself the top inhibitor, which, to be fair, it's not the worst inhibitor to lose. Some might even argue that it's the best for the team that's losing it. Not that it's a good situation, but rather you're always going to be in close proximity to that lane anyway for future Barons.
Yeah, that's true.
So you always have a champion nearby it, so they're always pushing back against the super minions. Whereas mid can be a little bit obnoxious because you can find yourself in guillotine spots. So taking a quick look at this replay, Peanut gets hit right there by the Zoe bubble. Comes down. That is a beautiful Zanyas right there.
Yeah, nicely
Flashes right into the Catfish's mouth. Spider on Catfish acts, and Peanut tries to live here, gets knocked up by the Scion as the rest of Gen G is trying to run away.
But Life could have avoided it. He had his flash that whole time. So just didn't decide to go in there. As you can see, inhibitor timer. 4 minutes until that top is back up again, so some control here for Gen G, who probably want to get into this Jin Air jungle and clear out all of these control wards. I believe they've got actually 5 up at the moment, and that just shouldn't happen when you're a team that's got Baron and you're approaching a 10,000 gold lead this stage of the game. And
here we have a little bit of a Doom push coming in. Probably just going to see Jin Air Greenwings give up the mid-tier 2 turret. I just thought about something completely random.
What's that?
Zoe gets actives and stuff. Wouldn't it be cool if she could get Deathfire Grass?
Oh, that would be really cool. This is also cool, though. We've got a fight on our hands as the Decimating Smash gonna get another knock up onto the Tahm Kench. They're trying to focus him down, but Ruler is free hitting Callan. You ain't going anywhere, buddy. Slowed down and destroyed his route. Diving on forward, another Devour is very nice, but instantly popped by Grace. He's getting the work done. Spirit's trying to do it as well. Triple kill comes in for the Zoe. Peanut still alive as Malrong is getting out of there, and Roach is now going for this fight. Trouble Bubble is going to land. Spells the quadra kill to the mid laner of Jinna, who's trying to save his whole team.
Yeah, I guess you could say that Grace was a saving grace in this team fight with that quadra kill. Looking for the Penta still, trying to find Peanut.
Yeah, trying to get him out of the way here. Doesn't find the sleepy Trouble Bubble. And Peanut is going to be gifted away home, but that means no more Baron Siege, no more nothing. And Jin Air showing some signs of life here towards the end of this game.
And Ocean still on the table, so whoever takes that next is going to cause the spawn of the Elder Dragon. And if you're Jin Air Greenwings, you probably don't want that to happen, given how much poke and long-range stuff. So anyways, checking out this replay, you can see Life gets knocked up right again, and look at where Roach is. He should just be bottom lane, and his team could have just disengaged this.
Yeah.
And he could have tried to raise the bottom inhibitor turret, but instead tries to come to the team fight. He's later than a Christmas present, and at this point, Grace just able to handle him very easily with that exhaust. Roach tries to use the Zanyas. It doesn't matter. He just gets locked up right there. Clean that up very nicely as Peanut runs to the hills.
Yeah, and using a Zanyas against a Zoe feels so bad. She can just put a bubble right underneath you.
Yeah.
And you are definitely dead after that. To see your death situation, and he certainly saw it. Peanut didn't know he's going to survive. Has a Fiendish Codex now to augment his build. Still, way more farm than Malrong. Starting to mean less and less for this Elise. Stopwatch now picked up for Ruler. Might help keep them in a better position as Life has used that spellbook to get himself a heal and an ignite. Ready to do some battle here in these fights, and he's going to be so important because Ruler, you saw what happens if he's able to free hit and smack down this front line. He's got a Mortal Reminder. He's got a lot of tank shred. On top of it, of course, with the Infinity Edge, True Damage, and the Blade of the Ruined King. He can cut through Linderung and Malrung relatively quickly, but it's if Root just dives on top of him with that Killer Instinct, that's when you need Life to get him in the belly and do that work. As Roach fighting here against Linderung and doing a pretty decent job for the moment.
Did chunk him for a little bit, but that Warmogs, Linderung is going to go back up to full HP in just a couple of seconds. Yeah,
Lord Dominic's Regard coming in as well as the Black Cleaver means that Roach is able to do some sort of relevant damage here against Linderung.
Also, pure lethality armor penetration on Jace.
Yeah.
That is a very scary champion.
Yeah, he's going to be able to cut down squishies and tanks.
Linderung doesn't have teleport.
Well, Roach does.
Oh,
so Jin Air are going to start this up. It's already down to half health. This is absolutely ridiculous. So much damage onto this Baron as Fly moves on in, but they're just going to give it away.
I think they have to just try to stop recalls.
Well, Peanut's going to come on over as, yeah, we've got the turret falling down, and you're right. The recall's attempting to be stopped. Spider Lady going to get into Spider form and slink away. Zoe does get out of there, but Arrow's going to land. Immediately cleansed there by Root.
Tom should have just ulted Ashe into mid lane, and they should have gotten that mid-tier 2 turret, so...
They should be able to get it here anyway, but Inhibitor does fall on the bottom side of the map, and we're looking at it. If Jin Air can't actually get out of their base and take down some of these turrets, that's definitely going to be worth it for Roach and Gen G.
And now Life with that Tahm Kench ultimate and that top inhibitor coming up, I mean, we could maybe try to see some sort of cheesy play where he delivers Jace into the turret and then you try to snipe that really quick. and then start proxying mid waves and whatnot. If Jin Air Greenwings is going to win the game, it'll be right now. Zoe has to show up big with pokes, has to hit.
Oh, there we go. Ruler immediately devoured, and Root doesn't have that ultimate, but I like the opportunistic play. Opens up the mid lane, and now Life will need to play very, very carefully. Ruler also with that devour on cooldown.
Whoa,
both of these turrets immediately evaporate. As I don't know whether they're going to be able to defend this one. Look at this damage, and the Jace is still splitting on the top side. This Gen G squad are going to give up their mid inhibitor, and are they going to give up Nexus turrets?
I think this is a base race now.
Whoa, look at that damage. That's explosive as Kellen dives on forward, doesn't quite get the Ashes Life. Is in there. Teleport now onto this Nexus turret, and if that completes, that might be the good news story. It does, as Roach gets in amongst it. Not going to find the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Flash out there from Linderong. As Jin Air, they're not done yet. Gen G still underneath these turrets.
Oh, man.
Oh, man,
this
just
is
one auto coming in from Root. Grace dives on forward. He's just got so much AP.
They have Scion passive.
Yeah, Peanut actually goes the wrong way here as Roach dives on forward and just gives his life up for free. Ruler has to flash into the fountain. Now the Nexus is going to get taken down, and Jin Air will bring us to Game 3.
Well,
who's surprised? LS. Who is surprised? This was going to be the series that goes the distance. And Malrung, that man on your screen right there, I mean, was a little bit of a passenger this game, but it was nothing like the Trundle performance. The Olaf was actually getting things done, tanking up Ash Arrows, things like that. But honestly, that game, similar to game number 1, felt like it was League of Legends in slow motion, and then one of the teams won.
Yeah, neither team were using what the comps were intended to do. Yeah. Unless you make the argument that Jin Air did it right at the end, but I mean, they didn't really have an option. Their hand was forced. So, really surprising. Definitely missed macro opportunities by Gen G that could have just put a stranglehold on Jin Air. Didn't elect to use them. No,
they didn't. I do want to say that Grace played unbelievably well.
He did.
That Zoe was very, very different to the Zoe that we were seeing earlier on today. Absolutely fantastic from him. Showmaker could probably take some notes of what Grace has been able to do, which is not something that we would have otherwise been talking about. So Damwon didn't necessarily wear it so well, but man, Jin Air made the Zoe look pretty busted, and we all remember those times. They weren't exactly the greatest. So now Gen G back to the drawing board. They do have another game because they won game 1, but Jin Air with the momentum moving into game 3.
And I mean, if you're Gen G, maybe just pick a team comp that sort of plays itself without having to rely on everyone to be coordinated and whatnot, because it doesn't really seem like Gen G is actually coordinated, especially when the mid and late game map movements come together. And that's so bizarre because historically, that's what Gen G was all about.
Exactly.
Especially, when they previously were known as even Samsung and whatnot. They were known for mid and late game map movements, even if they did have very slow openings.
Well, that's exactly what they know. We're exactly right. So the late game has always been their realm, and now they're not wearing it very well. It's like Peanut comes into the roster and they're indecisive. They don't necessarily have the clues of what to do to get around it. But just picking a pick comp like that, a pick and siege comp, and they're not doing any picking or sieging, that's bad. That's bad news for me. I'm like looking at that and I'm thinking, obviously something has gone wrong, because is this a composition that you've practiced before enough? And look at that mid lane. That difference in damage is just repugnant. 3 times the amount done. And he didn't even max out. I mean, it was still all about Ruler. The Ashe still got a lot of damage done.
Well,
oh dear.
Performances like that are probably why Urgot did not really get hit in 9.2 too much.
Potentially, but we've seen other performances where it looks like he needs to be hit really, really hard with as many bats as you can find.
Which means that he won't be.
Well, I mean, he's not, is he? So, I mean, maybe the balance team's just been watching Fly games, unfortunately, and that's why Urgot escaped, because that was not exactly the best day to be Fly. And I admit he was abused a little bit. That first gank certainly went in favor of Jin Air, and they didn't let up. But guys, game 3 is going to be right around the corner.